As we tune in, we tend to find that everything softens, our body relaxes, our breath becomes easier, smoother. And part of that is because what constricts the breath is tension in the body, primarily in the mind as well, which the mind and the body are all one, so they kind of work together there. So notice as you're starting if your attention is being drawn to a particular spot, particular part of your body. It might be a part of your body that feels pleasure. More likely it's a part of your body that is in some kind of contraction or tightness, or maybe there's some pain there. So just to notice what your experience is as you're first tuning in. Notice the body from head to toes, notice the breath. We're going to do just a resting practice today. So resting in all of the layers of our experience and resting in that space that's not disturbed by what's happening in our experience. And the way that we do that is we just bring our attention in, first from other times and other places. So if your mind is occupied with something, which our minds very often are, then see if you could let go of that for the next 20 minutes or so. We can always come back to thoughts about the past or something about the future at another time, but we can't really pay attention in the moment at another time, other than remembering what it felt like in the moment before. So we want to try and take our thinking mind a little bit offline as well. And one of the ways to do that is to let it be engaged with something else. And in this case, we're engaging our attention on what's happening in our body, what's happening in the breath, and on that space where nothing is ever changing, that silence or stillness that we tap into at times. That awareness that we're observing or witnessing our experience as it's coming up in each moment. If we have our eyes open, we're noticing all kinds of colors and shapes and objects that then trigger thoughts in the mind. When we have our eyes closed, it's a little bit quieter, at least through the visual sense. So you can have your eyes open or you can have them closed. It's generally a little easier to relax with the eyes closed, but that's not always the case. So do what works for you right now. In either way, notice your body. Let your body completely settle and relax into the support of the floor, of the chair, however it is that you're situated. And notice that as it's happening, when you tune into the back of the neck and shoulders, the large muscles of the upper back. If you're on the floor, the shoulders generally fall back a little bit, the chest opens up a bit. You can feel the back of the hips, the back of your legs, your heels. If you're sitting, the points of contact are a bit different, but we still have this sense, just a built-in sense of where it is that we connect with parts of our environment. So notice that. Let yourself really sink into the support that you have. If you're sitting upright, the support might be your skeleton, your bones, and the core muscles that keep us upright. And then as you breathe out, let everything else relax. The forehead and the eyebrows. The mouth and the jaw. a sense of speech and action through speech. The sense of holding in or being careful about what we say. Let all of that relax. And be at rest through the mouth and the jaw, the throat, the vocal cords. Coming down through the throat and the neck. Notice the muscles. You could let your shoulders drop away from your ears, or if you're lying down, let them soften even more. And also notice any energy or sensation. And notice that you're observing. You're noticing what's happening in your body. You're noticing what's happening with your breath. Just with this light touch of attention, let yourself rest in this practice. Keeping your mind focused on what it is that we're doing right now and what's happening in your body and your breath. Some days our mind is quite focused, other days it's scattered, and we might have to bring our attention back over and over and over and over again. So whatever your experience is in the moment, see if you can just meet it, accept it. That's what's happening right now. And let yourself rest. Let your breath become less active, less effort in the breath as we relax all the muscles of the chest and the stomach. The diaphragm has a bit more space, it can move a bit more easily. We don't have to do our breath. Our body knows how to do that. We mostly just have to get out of the way of our breath. And we do that by softening, by paying attention. If we have a habit of holding our breath, we might just really focus on the continuity of the breath for a moment. Noticing how the stomach relaxes on the out-breath. And if you've got a shallow breath, see if you can lengthen it a little bit without moving into any kind of anxiety or too much effort around the breath. Just let your breath continue. Let your body deepen into the relaxation that comes naturally with your out-breath. And notice when you want to take an in-breath. And then let that happen. And then as soon as you're finished a nice deep inhalation, let the air go. Let yourself move right into the exhalation without any break or pause. And keep this awareness of your observation. That right now our focus is on what's happening in our body and in our breath. If we're getting involved in a train of thought about something else, as soon as we notice, we just bring it back. There's quite a bit for our mind to do. We're paying attention to the body, noticing our whole body, head to toes. Check if any tightness has come in anywhere, maybe through the forehead or the eyebrows. Your mouth or your jaw might be relaxed. It might not be quite as relaxed as it was a moment ago. the neck and shoulders, all through the back of your body, your stomach. We're also watching the breath. And notice the attention that you're observing your own experience right now, whatever that is. And it's a very natural process for us to be having a response to our experience. If we notice our mind has wandered off again, we might be frustrated by that. We might have ideas or opinions on what's happening in our body, some kind of aversion maybe, especially if there's pain or tightness in the body. It's not an experience we really enjoy. So we might be noticing a lot of different things. Notice as thought comes in. Notice where it appears. Notice if it feels kind of calm and in the background, or if it's one of those attention-grabbing thoughts. Just take a moment to watch that experience of thought coming and seeing what happens with thought. Keeping some awareness on the body and breath as well. Use your breath as an anchor. And notice the stillness. There are all these things that are happening, the experiences that are coming and going, the thoughts, the movement of our body with our breath. And turn your attention now to what's not moving, what's not changing. The space in which all that is happening, the space of awareness, or even the physical space. And as your attention is drawn to something that is moving, notice if you can also pay attention to what's not moving. We could notice this in our body. A lot of the parts of the body are not moving when we're lying still or sitting still. There's air flowing in through the nose and down into the lungs. But the body itself isn't really moving, there's a sensation of air moving through it. As we get down into the chest, we notice the diaphragm muscle is moving. If we're breathing diaphragmatically, there's a rise of the stomach on the inhale and a relaxation or a softening on the exhale. So just on the level of your body, notice what it is that's moving and what it is that's still. And notice the movement and the stillness in the mind as well. The layer of thought can be imagined as the layer of waves on the surface of a lake or on the surface of the ocean. And as soon as you go below the surface, things start to get quiet. See if you can sense into the quiet and stillness in the mind. By moving your attention away from the surface. Let thoughts move into the background. Keep this perspective of the witness. We're watching what's happening in the mind, in the breath, and in the body. And we're observing what it is that moves and changes, and what it is that doesn't move, doesn't change. We're resting our attention on that stillness. If your attention has gotten engaged in something, it's natural for our mind to pay attention to what moves and changes. It could be thought, it could be something else. Just bring your attention back again. Allow yourself to rest. If your mind is a bit unsteady, you're going to want to give it something strong to anchor to, like really paying attention to the transition points in the breath. The muscles relax on the exhale and then they stretch open on the inhale. And if your mind is quite calm, then it's easier to rest in that stillness. There's not as much distracting us. And notice if there's anything that you're observing that doesn't feel like it should be here, if there's some kind of resistance to what's happening. That could be part of our experience. If that's the case, then see if you can just let that be as it is. The resistance as well as what it is that we wish would be different. All we're doing right now for another few minutes is just resting. We're letting our experience be as it is. We're breathing, relaxing our body, attending to our own experience. And to that space of awareness in which all of this is arising and being seen. To the stillness